Hey, what's up everybody? Rich Gaming Guy here. Today in this video, I'm going to show you guys how we can set up an HP EliteDesk 800G3 mini PC as a retro video game console for right around 125 bucks. I just picked up one of these mini PCs off of Amazon, so I'm going to unbox it with you guys. I'm going to show you how I install a Batocera SSD within here, and I'll also boot to it, and I'll show you guys exactly what the performance is like on here with a bunch of different video games and game collections. So we'll get a great idea as to what to expect with this PC as a game console. Let's dive into it and get started. All right, so here we have the HP EliteDesk 800G3 mini PC with Intel Core i5, 8GB RAM, and should have a 256GB internal SSD pre-installed inside of it, likely with Windows 10, I believe. So I'm going to actually open this up. We're going to take a quick peek at this, and then we're going to try to turn this into a retro game console. So comes with this, which I assume is the power supply cables. And hopefully, what do we have for output on here? Do we have... All right, so it is DisplayPort, which I do have on hand if they didn't provide that. Hopefully they did. I think when I got the G2, it was just the power supply cable, and that appears to be what we have here as well. So this is a, what is this, wireless adapter? Sweet. All right, so that's always good to have, especially if you're setting up something from scratch in like Batocera or something like that. So let's go ahead and plug in our power supply cable. All right, now let's actually take a look at the PC itself. I do have a DisplayPort to HDMI cable. I do like the silver stripe on here, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing in my opinion than the G2, which is just regular black, but still very nice on here. We have Type-C, 2 USBs, a microphone connection, as well as our audio jack right here. Power button down here, so very much the same layout as the G2, and the specs are very similar as well. Backside we have 2 DisplayPort connections here, so I recommend a DisplayPort to HDMI. Then you can easily connect that to pretty much any monitor or TV that you want. VGA over here, 4 USBs, Ethernet, and then of course our power supply connection right here. All right, so I do have my DisplayPort to HDMI cable ready to go right here, and I'll put a link actually in the description of this video so you can pick up one of these off of Amazon if you don't already have one and you decide to go with this particular PC. But I'm actually going to unplug this because I don't actually care about Windows 10 on here on the internal SSD. I want to swap that out altogether. So if we turn this over to the back side, you're going to notice this little switch right here, and there's an icon that is a unlock symbol right there. So all we're going to do is push that forward, and we should be able to open this right up like this. So it takes the top panel off, and inside here you can see we do have our internal SSD, which does have Windows 10 on it, and it says right here Windows 10 Pro. So what we're going to do to actually eject this and remove this SSD and put in our own SSD, and you can actually use this SSD right here if you wanted to. You can flash Batocera to this, or whatever you're looking to use for retro gaming directly onto this. It's going to overwrite the Windows 10 here, and you could do all of that, you know, totally out of what came included here. But I have a 4TB SSD that I want to install in here instead, so we're just going to simply lift up this tab right here, and I believe this should eject this automatically, and it does. So you notice how as soon as I lift that up, it actually removes the SSD from that connection right there. And we do have the wheels on here, which we're likely going to want to remove. You don't necessarily need, oh, it doesn't have 4 anyways. I was going to say you don't need 4. You really only need 2 here. So I'm going to actually remove these, and I'm going to put it on my SSD. And if you wanted to use this SSD right here to flash fresh install Batocera onto it, you wouldn't have to actually remove those wheels. You can leave them on and just use a SATA to USB connection to connect this to your PC if you wanted to. So I'm going to get rid of this altogether. And this right here is the SSD that I'm going to be installing. This right here is a 4TB SATA 3 SSD. So we're going to just reinstall these wheels up here in the front. That's where they were on the original SSD. So a couple quick turns on there, and it's ready to go. Now we should be able to just simply drop those into the wheel slots right there. And I believe as this, we might have to start it a little bit, but as this goes down, it should, oh, there we go. So we do have to give this a little push in the back end there. It makes that connection there, and then this actually locks it into place. So we're good to go here. We're installed, and now we'll just simply line this back up on here. There we go. We'll push it into place. And that clicked right into place. I think everybody heard that. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in my power supply cable. We're going to find the DisplayPort side of our DisplayPort to HDMI cable. I'm going to go ahead and I'll put that into the middle DisplayPort. There's one over here. There's one over here closest to the power supply. So I'm going to use that one. And we should be ready to go here. The other end here, I'm going to actually connect to my capture card. And then from the capture card, I'm going to go directly to my TV. I'm only doing that for the purpose of showing you guys everything that boots up on here. So for you guys, you'd just be able to take the HDMI end of this and plug it directly into your TV or monitor, and you'd be ready to go. All right, so we are ready to go here. Now I'm going to bring in a keyboard and connect that via USB connection here. And the reason for this is we may have to go in and make some adjustments to our BIOS settings in order to boot up into Batocera, because there likely is a secure boot enabled on here. I do see that a lot with HP EliteDesk PCs, especially the G3. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit the power button on here, and we're going to boot up and see what pops up on screen. Sometimes, again, you're able to boot right into Batocera. Sometimes you have to go in and disable secure boot. So we'll power this on and see what we get on screen. All right, so as suspected, we have this notice on screen which says secure boot. Selected boot image did not authenticate. Please press enter to attempt to boot to next device. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to actually just power this down. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring our keyboard into play. We're going to power this on, and we're going to just keep tapping our escape key up here in the top left corner. All right, so now you can see we have this startup menu on screen. So we're going to go down to BIOS Setup, which is F10 in parentheses. We're going to hit that with Enter. Now that we're inside here, what we can do is navigate over to Advanced across the top, and I'm just using my right arrow key in order to do this. And we're going to go down to Secure Boot Configuration. We're going to hit Enter to select this option. And inside here, right at the top, it says Configure Legacy Support and Secure Boot. And right there, it says Legacy Support Disable and Secure Boot Enable. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Enter on here. It's going to bring us this drop-down menu, and we have three different options here. What we want to do is we want to go up to where it says Legacy Support Enable and Secure Boot Disable. We're going to hit Enter on that option. You can see that that has now changed in the Configure Legacy Support and Secure Boot option. And now what we can do is we can navigate back over to the main category there on the left and navigate all the way down to the bottom where it says Save Changes and Exit. We're going to go ahead and hit Enter on this, and we're going to confirm the changes with Yes. Hit Enter to confirm Yes. And now upon reboot, you're going to see this message on screen. It says Secure Boot. A request has been made to change the system's secure boot configuration, which may affect the secure boot keys and or may disable secure boot. Please type in and enter the below number for authorization. So your number is going to differ from mine, but mine is 2513. So we're going to go ahead and type in 2513. You see how that populates in on screen, and we're going to hit enter. Now this starts our rebooting process, and we are booting up right into Batocera now on our internal SSD. So you're going to notice now your audio is likely coming through your actual speakers on your G3 HP EliteDesk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my main menu here. I'm going to go down to System Settings. I'll hit Enter on that option. And I'm going to go down to Audio Profile. I'm going to make some changes in here. And you're going to have a different setup depending on what you're connected to. It may not look exactly as it does for me. But what I'm going to do is I want to pull from the HDMI output. So I'm going to go over here to HDMI output. I'm going to select that option there. And we are going to just hit Escape to back out. And now my audio is coming out of my TV rather than from the actual PC itself. So now you're going to want to connect some controllers, and we're going to get rid of using the keyboard here, unless you want to use that as a controller. I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a controller that I want to use, and I'm going to go with this wired Power A controller here. I'm just simply going to connect that here. You can use 2.4G wireless if you'd like. And you notice how on screen it says Microsoft Xbox One Pad connected. And from here, we should be able to actually navigate to the mapping screen from the controller by hitting start and then just going down to controller and Bluetooth settings. I'm going to confirm that and then jump into controller mapping here with my A button. If you're not able to navigate with your controller, some register, some don't, then you can do the same options with your keyboard and get your controller mapped and set up just by navigating into it with the keyboard rather than the actual controller itself. So I'm going to hold down my A button. We're going to jump through each of these real quick. So I'm going to just quickly map all of these functions. And just like that, we're ready to go. So I'm going to back out of this, and we can disconnect the keyboard altogether. We're no longer using that for anything on here. And we're going to now test out some games in here. And you can see this is my 4 terabyte setup for Batacero. So I've got Wii U, I've got Nintendo Switch, Beats of Rage, we've got Thomas Wave, Sega Master System, Genesis, Game Gear, Saturn, Sega Model 3, Dreamcast, Naomi, Neo Geo, PlayStation 1, 2, PSP, PS3. This is LCD games. We have our All Games Master List. Daphne's in here, MAME's in here, all the Ataris are in here, MSX1, Xbox, Xbox 360, TurboGrafx 16, TurboGrafx CD, SuperGrafx, Nintendo Entertainment System, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Game Boy, Nintendo GameCube, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, Wii, and then we are back to Wii U where we started. So got a little bit of everything in here, and these collections are absolutely stacked. So I'm going to jump into a bunch of different demos, and we're going to test out what the G3 HP EliteDesk mini PC is actually capable of emulating.
Love 15. $15 all. $15.50.
What is he gonna do from behind? We can't take our eyes off this match. Hurry, hurry! Stunner! Stunner! Oh my gosh! I've never seen a fight like this before! I can't believe it! Pinfall!
Stone
Stone Cold Steve Austin won the match.
Here is your winner,
First and 30. He's at the 30, the 20, first down. First down. Touchdown!
Right here, dude!
All right, guys, we jumped into a wide range of games and game collections here on the HP EliteDesk 800G3 mini PC, and I have to say, for the most part, the emulation experience here is phenomenal. It's really high performance, and there's only 2 collections that I dove into that I could not find success with, and that's PS3 and Xbox 360. Both of these, though, are very well known for being difficult, and for the most part, you need to have a high-powered gaming PC to effectively emulate those games. And even with a high-powered gaming PC, it's not perfect. So I definitely expected to have the shortcomings with those 2 collections. The only other one that I think is a little bit iffy is original Xbox on here. We jumped into a couple gameplay demos here, and you can see in the wrestling game here, WWE Raw 2, that there is a little slowdown in that gameplay. It's still playable, but it's a little bit slower than it should be. So I do want to make mention of that. When it comes down to Nintendo Switch emulation, that is obviously the most current collection out there for emulation, and it actually performs very well in games. However, it does take a while for games to actually load in. There was a few points where I thought, all right, I'm about to just exit out of this game. It's obviously not working, and then it kicked right in. It just takes a really long time to load in games or even cutscenes in games. So take that into consideration. For that reason, I probably wouldn't say get this mini PC purely for Nintendo Switch emulation. It's just you're pushing this system to its max with that emulator. So it's still a good experience in game, but it's not perfect in that it takes a really long time to load things in. So, just take that into consideration there. But all your other game collections here, as you saw from the gameplay demos, perform extremely well. I would say perfect, in fact. PS2, you may have some little glitches here and there, may have some little, shortcomings, but for the most part, still a great experience. And the good thing about PS2 is you can customize your settings to better the performance. So if you are experiencing a certain issue within certain games for PS2, you can go into your emulator, you can change some settings and better your experience there. So fully customizable as well, but I think this is a great mini PC. Low profile, it's really a unique look to it as well. I like the fact that it's black and silver. Certainly doesn't impact performance at all, but it's aesthetically pleasing. So if you're going to have this sitting out on your desk or on your mantle, it definitely looks pretty cool. Now, another thing I want to mention is the cooling on here. The cooling is very good, and that's not always the case with mini PCs, especially ones like this where, it's very small. We don't have very clear ventilation on here, but it is very good. I played actually to film this video for about 2.5 hours total on here, and when I touched this mini PC at the end of that experience, and that's 2.5 hours of constant gaming on here, it was barely even warm to the touch. The fan does get a little bit loud, but I could care less how loud it gets if it's doing its job, and it definitely is here. So I think the HP EliteDesk 800G3 mini PC is absolutely amazing for retro video game emulation, and it's certainly budget friendly here at just around $125. Obviously, prices fluctuate up and down, but at the time of this video, $125 on Amazon right now. You may be able to even find it cheaper on eBay or getting it secondhand or refurbished from different places out there, but $125 from Amazon, in my opinion, you can't beat it. Now, another thing I think this would be great for is arcade one-up cabinet mods or even arcade cabinets in general. If you want to have a mini PC installed inside of a cabinet to, get a wider range of games available on that cabinet, this would be a great addition for you. You can easily mount this to the inside of a cabinet, to the outside of a cabinet, the back of a cabinet, run your wires right through, and you would have a phenomenal experience with something like this. So the only downside, or not even downside, just something you have to be aware of, is of course the fact that you need a DisplayPort connection. There's no HDMI output on this, so you would need a DisplayPort to HDMI cable, as I mentioned in this video. I'll put a link in the description of this video to one of those, and of course to the PC. I'll put a link up here, in fact, to the PC on Amazon, and also in the description. So if you want additional information on what this has to offer, some additional information on the specs, click those links. That is going to do it for today, though. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the HP EliteDesk 800G3 mini PC and how it could be used as a very budget-friendly and affordable retro video game console. That's going to do it for today, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Be sure to hit subscribe and give me a thumbs up on the video. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one.